Last night, while you were completely unconscious, your brain did something no machine on Earth can fully replicate. It built an entire world, characters who didn't exist, places you've never been, emotions so real your heart was actually pounding when you woke up. And by breakfast, most of it was already gone, dissolving faster than you could hold on to it. You've probably never questioned this. Every single night, without asking your permission, your mind writes and directs a private film just for you, complete with plot twists, familiar faces wearing strange expressions, and a version of physics that makes no sense at all. Then it deletes almost the entire thing before you're even fully awake. Why would evolution build something this strange, this elaborate, and then throw it away almost immediately? Let's start with what's actually happening inside your skull while you dream. About every 90 minutes throughout the night, your brain enters a stage called REM sleep, rapid eye movement. Your eyes dart back and forth beneath closed lids. Your brain activity looks almost identical to being awake, and yet your body is essentially paralyzed, unable to act out whatever is happening in your mind. This paralysis isn't a flaw, it's a safety mechanism. Neuroscientist J. Allen Hobson spent decades studying this state and proposed that dreams emerge from the brainstem randomly activating signals, which the higher regions of your brain then scramble to interpret, weaving those random bursts into something resembling a story. In his view, your sleeping brain isn't trying to tell you anything profound. It's simply making sense of noise, the same way you might see a face in a cloud. But that explanation, while influential, doesn't account for something researchers kept noticing again and again. Dreams aren't actually random. They follow patterns, recognizable, repeatable, almost universal patterns. Finnish cognitive neuroscientist Antti Revonsuo studied thousands of dream reports and found something striking. A huge percentage of dreams, across wildly different cultures and backgrounds, involve threat, being chased, falling, being unprepared for something important, losing control in public. These aren't rare nightmares. They are, statistically, some of the most common dream experiences reported by humans everywhere. Revonsuo proposed something called the threat simulation theory. The idea is unsettling and brilliant at the same time. Your brain, while you sleep safely in your bed, may be running combat simulations, rehearsing danger, practicing fear responses in a completely safe environment, so that if a real threat ever shows up, some part of you has already run the drill. Think about what that means. The nightmare where you're being chased and can't run fast enough isn't a malfunction. It might be your ancient nervous system quietly training you, night after night, for a threat that mostly no longer exists in your modern life, but that your biology still prepares for out of pure evolutionary habit. This connects to something even deeper about why dreaming might exist at all. Sleep researcher Matthew Walker has spent years studying the relationship between REM sleep and emotional memory. His research suggests that dreaming may act as a kind of overnight therapy session, allowing your brain to process painful or emotionally charged memories while stripping away some of the intense emotional charge attached to them. In other words, you might remember what happened to you, but dreaming may help soften how much it hurts to remember it. Walker's studies found that people who were allowed to dream normally after an emotionally difficult experience showed reduced physiological stress responses when recalling that memory later, compared to those whose REM sleep was disrupted. The dream itself may be doing quiet, invisible repair work, stitching your emotional wounds closed while you're completely unaware it's happening. This is where the story gets genuinely strange. If dreams are partly about processing threat and partly about healing emotional pain, then the seemingly random chaos of your dreams, the impossible landscapes, the people who shouldn't be together in the same room, the anxiety about a test you haven't taken in 20 years might not be nonsense at all. It might be your mind's oldest form of self-maintenance, running quietly every single night, whether you remember it or not. Here's where it gets stranger. If dreaming is really just memory sorting and emotional processing, why do dreams so often make no logical sense at all? Why do you dream about flying, or about a childhood home merging with your current workplace, or about a person who is somehow two different people at once? The most influential answer to this comes from a theory called activation synthesis, first proposed by researchers Alan Hobson and Robert McCarley. The idea is that during REM sleep, your brainstem fires off essentially random electrical signals. Your cortex, the part of your brain responsible for thought and interpretation, receives all this chaotic activity and does what it always does. It tries to make sense of it. It synthesizes a story out of noise, the same way you might see a face in a cloud formation. The bizarre logic of dreams, under this theory, isn't the point. It's the side effect of a meaning-making brain doing its best with random input. But not everyone agrees dreams are meaningless noise dressed up as narrative. Some researchers argue dreaming may have served a more direct evolutionary purpose: rehearsal. This is sometimes called the threat simulation theory, developed largely by researcher Antti Revonsuo. Under this idea, dreaming evolved specifically to let our ancestors safely practice responding to dangerous situations, predators, conflict, physical threats, all inside a simulation with zero real-world risk. If you've ever had a dream about being chased, cornered, or fighting for your life, you've experienced exactly the kind of scenario this theory is built around. Revonsuo's research found that threatening dream content appears with striking consistency across cultures, and that people who face more real-world danger tend to report more threat-related dreams. Your brain, in this view, isn't just cleaning up memories. It's running combat drills while you sleep, and it has been for a very long time. Now here's a detail that makes this even more interesting. Not everyone dreams the same way, and the differences aren't random. People blind from birth report dreams built entirely from sound, touch, and emotion, with no visual component at all. Direct evidence that dreaming isn't about images specifically, but about whatever sensory world your brain actually has access to. Your brain isn't playing you a pre-made movie. It's generating an experience using whatever raw material it has, night after night, tailored entirely to you. So what does all of this mean for the version of dreaming you experience? It likely isn't just one thing. It's probably memory consolidation, emotional processing, and ancient rehearsal for danger, all layered together, running through the same nightly process your brain has been refining for as long as brains capable of REM sleep have existed, which researchers estimate stretches back tens of millions of years, long before anything resembling a human walked the earth. Which means when you wake up tomorrow, foggy, chasing the last fragments of some dream that's already slipping away, you're not witnessing a glitch. You're witnessing the tail end of one of the oldest, most sophisticated processes your brain performs. A private nightly rehearsal of memory, emotion, and survival built specifically for an audience of exactly one, and gone again before most people even think to ask what it was for. Tonight, your brain will do it again. And somewhere inside that private, flickering world you won't remember, something in you will still be trying to make sense of who you are.